All right, here's the song. Ready to do this one?
Let's get her on.
All right, let's do it.
There we go.
There it is.
Bryan found the G spot.
Live from Kentucky, Louisiana. Two Marines, one mission.
Oh, yeah.
This is Sense and Senseless.
It's on the tape.
From the hills to the bayou, stories collide. Brothers in arms, now we're side by side. Sense and senseless, we cut through the noise. Two Southern Marines with that rebel voice. Grab a seat, pour a drink, let's make some sense. Or none at all, it just depends. Sense and senseless.
Welcome back to the Sense and Senseless podcast. I am Bryan.
I'm Jason.
He is Jason. It's Sunday, April 26, 2026. This is our second episode of the week. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome to the family. You can follow us on most podcast platforms as well as YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, all under the Sense and Senseless Podcast. You can also reach us at the Sense and Senseless Podcast at outlook.com. I know it's a fucking long email address, but that's what it is. All right, so what we're going to discuss tonight. Tonight, we're going to discuss poverty and wealth.
Poverty and wealth.
It could be a fucking rap song. I'm about to look into
Poverty and
that.
wealth.
Poverty and wealth.
Well,
That might be a good Lego AI. Poverty and wealth.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Poverty and wealth, Lego AI. It's on you. All right. We'll also discuss why you always broke, and we'll try to get to why we don't listen to our elders. But first, let's look at what the Israeli soldiers think about Jesus Christ. Now, to be fair, these two Israeli soldiers in the video we're about to watch, I mean, they could be knuckleheads, and this may not represent all Israeli soldiers. I get that. Also, these guys were reprimanded, or at least there were reports that they were. But the question I have is, were they reprimanded for the act that they're doing, or were they reprimanding for filming the act and getting caught? So there's a big difference there. So I'm going to show you the video, and we'll discuss what you think about it on the other side, Jason.
Why would an Israeli soldier want to smash the face of Jesus? This is a country, we're often told, that is a safe haven for Christians in the region. Well, before any of those questions could be answered, the Israeli media jumped in.
This does not look good at all for the Israelis, and it's going to be circulating online in the U.S. as well. We know who will take advantage of this. Definitely Hezbollah affiliated accounts, and this is again another incident that is going to make a lot of bad portraying of the IDF.
The problem with an IDF soldier smashing the face of Jesus is not that he smashed the face of Jesus. The problem is that he got caught on camera. And in fact, it turns out not only did the guy who did it get punished, but so did the guy who filmed it, because exposing what the IDF does to the rest of the world is the real crime. What you don't hear is any examination of why it happened in the first place. What does it reflect of the attitudes of the Israeli military and of Israel itself toward Christianity? That's never addressed.
Can I
right.
can I speak on that for real quick?
Yep, because I got to find the video that I'm missing.
Okay, so once again, so earlier tonight, me and Bryan were talking, and I've kind of stated my views as being a Christian. It's hard to sit there and dog on Israel, right? Because in the Bible, Israel is God's chosen people and all that stuff. And I was sitting there I'm not waffling. I won't waffle, but you really have to, you got to make sure people understand where you're coming from when you start like, oh, he calls himself a Christian, but he doesn't back Israel. He's not going to wear his I back Israel t-shirt. No, I'm not wearing an I back Israel t-shirt, because the Israel over there there's a lot of Jews that are going to go to hell, according to my beliefs,
I think you're right.
because right. Well, if they're not living right and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they don't, like I said, I'm a Christian that believes you have to accept Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. That's my thoughts. That's my beliefs. Whatever your thoughts and beliefs are, I'll respect that. But what I'm getting at is just because you're from Israel doesn't mean you're God's chosen people. It doesn't mean that. And I talked to some guys this weekend that I was hanging out with on a men's retreat, and they believe the same thing. So when I see that video, Brian, I don't really, you see what I'm saying? It-
No, I agree wholeheartedly.
uh,
I'm glad you've seen it that way now.
yeah, a true Jew does not believe that Jesus is the Son of God anyways, and that he's the way. They do not believe the Messiah has came because they're waiting for a warrior king to come down and to reign or whatever. They don't believe that the Son of God was born into a manger in Bethlehem to a virgin, and the dude Joseph wasn't even, the biological father, that he was conceived, or she was conceived from God and not from the dad, and all that, and that he was the son of a carpenter. They don't believe in that, right? So why would they care? If you know anything about Jews, and any Jews that are listening, shalom. But anyways, you don't believe in Jesus Christ anyways. So that's the problem I have with Tucker. Tucker, you were on there earlier when that BBC, not the big black penis, but the British broadcasting company woman was trying to spin you in what is that, the anti-cism or
Anti-Semitic.
yeah, the anti-Semitic, because he was speaking out against Israel, and he kind of smoked on her saying, I understand what you're trying to do to me. No, I'm not trying. Yes, you are. I've been doing this a long time. So Tucker, I'm going to say, I'm not a reporter, but I know what you bastards do. You guys try to spin stuff to get people riled up, and you're not going to rile a Christian up with that, because Jews don't believe in Christ anyways. If they don't believe in somebody, it's just like an atheist in America. Why? If
I,
that was being done in America, would we be throwing? Oh, we got to go to war.
I don't think it has anything to say about war. I think what it has more to say is that the Christian belief is that you have to submit to these guys, and the Israelis believe that they're the holier of thou. So they're working off of this belief system that this is what they are,
Right,
but yet they're showing themselves as something that they're not,
right,
you know? So I think what he's trying to say is this is being pushed in a lot of Catholic religion and in Christian circles, that you have to support Israel. You have to support this area. That's the Holy Land.
right.
But yet,
But
look at what these people do.
yeah,
I
they
think
don't
that's what he's trying
respect.
to.
Yeah, that's what. But okay, when you think you're up here, which the Jews do,
Mm-hmm.
and we're down here, and we're supposed, and y'all's Bible, even though it talks about Jesus that we don't even believe in, but y'all are still told that we're God's chosen people. So you better not turn your back on God's chosen, right? Because even though he sent his son to do all this for you and this and save you and all that stuff, even though we don't believe in that, you do, and you're told that we're God's chosen people. So you gotta abide by both. You gotta abide by Jesus and by us. Bullshit. No, we don't. We don't have to abide by you. You see what I'm saying? That's
Oh,
what
I,
they're
I
not.
agree with you.
th-
You understand that.
The teaching is trying to teach you that, but if you really get into the word and do and study and whatever, you'll understand that you don't have to live by their ways anymore. God's going to deal with them.
That's what I'm getting at, though. You understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's speaking for the people in the back of the room.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You want me to yell at higher for the people in the back that ain't listening.
That's right.
Yeah, because Christians, when you're getting caught up in this, you better understand. I mean, Tucker did show something that should open your eyes to stop taking up for them because they know not what they do. You know what I'm saying? They're sitting there bashing the Messiah because it's no different than an atheist doing it over in America.
Yeah.
Are you going to follow them because maybe their God's chose it? No, they're not. No, they're not.
And I seen a interview the other day, and they had a lady that lives in Gaza, and the Israelis been trying to take her property for a
Mhm.
long time, her family's property, and all the shit they go through, and it was a Christian area, and they just trying to get rid of them, and it was just amazing to see the shit that these people are going through for them just to get rid of them. It's unbelievable, and I just hope some people open their eyes up. And I had a video of Bibi Netanyahu stating that like basically that Jesus was no match for Genghis Khan. And when you think like that,
He's
yeah, I mean, that's their leader. You know what I'm getting at? So the IDF soldiers, their leader is Bibi Netanyahu, and this is how this man talks. And I wish I'd had the video to show you because it's just like, okay, now I understand. I mean, not that I didn't
I
understand.
believe you. I'm
Yeah,
not
not
gonna
that. Yeah,
say
not that we didn't understand, but I'm
that you're
just saying.
misconstrue that. Yeah, I don't think you're saying it wrong and took it out of context. I truly believe what you're saying because once again, it's like, oh, we want these Christians to follow us and to abide by us and blah, 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 but they believe this, so we're going to dog on their dude. Stop. Just stop it. You're wrong. I'm not. BB can suck it. And I said it.
And trust me,
Hold on. We'll see if we hear these voices in my headset tonight while I say this. Because every time it's like I tell you, it's like,
man, again, the videos that I released last week that had just like dunked on Israel and shit got no views. It was not moved at all. It's weird. It's just
but it's on there.
It's on there. You're right. They'll let you post it, but it will get no views. They will
how's it not getting any views?
Because they won't push it out. They have to push it out. So if you can go look at our channel and you can look at it, but it's not going to be shared with anyone.
All right, then I challenge everybody that does look at our other stuff. Well, we'll have to do it. I'll challenge when we're not
just
talking
say
about Israel.
If you watch it on YouTube, and there's not a whole bunch of people but if you watch in our this long format on YouTube, we greatly appreciate you first of all. But go check out our shorts too, and we have some that have very few views. Share them with your friends because they're not being pushed out because they have all these restraints on it. It's not that we're saying anything wrong. They just don't want people to have this information.
Yeah, but wonder if they got a lot of views because we're telling people what to do and we're manipulating the system. Do you think they'll shut them down?
Shut who down?
Shut us down.
Dude, we're nothing on the internet.
Hey, I got excited when I seen like 900 views on one of them. I was like, man, I called my mom. I said, Mom, you ain't got to work no more.
You ain't got to work no more.
Like Gary Owen.
Yeah.
Sorry for name dropping, but I like Gary.
All right, so here's Jim Brewer, another comedian. I think comedians are geniuses, but
they are.
Here's Jim Brewer on Jesus. Check this one out.
Most of our so-called leaders, they've overstayed their welcome. They've accomplished nothing that's good for humanity. And when you make a statement like that...
Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good.
I'm standing on Jesus' side. I'm standing on the good light side. And I tell you what, you're going to be in a pitch black room in the most dark place in your life. You just light one little match, and that one little spark lights up the whole room. So sorry, but that was a coward statement. And just because you don't want to invest in the light of God and Jesus, and you don't want to make your life better for other human beings, and you don't want to put in the work to make your spirituality be better and nourish it, that's on you.
Amen.
Well, I found a video of Genghis Khan that I wanted to find. I thought I didn't have it. I forgot it was with Jim Brewer. But I mean, he makes a lot more sense than most people. He's a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And these people that they're taking billions from you. you know, and these people are demanding that you send your children to war for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And we get penalized here in the United States for saying something bad. I'm not even saying something bad, just for pointing out the obvious. That's the worst part. You know, we're not trying to be anti-Semitic. I don't hate Jews. I don't hate
Do
Israel.
they have anti-Semitic laws in Israel for us?
They might. I don't know, but
Bullshit.
From what I've
Bullshit.
seen, the Jewish culture is the only culture that's protected by law in the United States. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's civil rights movements. I understand that. I don't want people saying it's civil rights. I'm just saying that this basically calls out the civil rights. I mean, that's everybody's civil rights. It was made to help black people, but it's for everyone. There's I don't know if it's a law, but exactly how it's sitting now. But if you become anti-Semitic, there's something against you on that in this country, and I just find that weird.
Right.
You know, and I don't believe in hate groups. I don't believe in hate crimes. I think you should not do that stuff.
No.
But also, I
but
believe
you should be able to voice your opinion about.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Now here's Alan Dershowitz. He was on Piers Morgan, pretty much telling Piers that he's not allowed to say what he wants. Now this is a lawyer. All right. So let's check this shit out.
But I'd also make a wider point, Alan, which
I don't think so.
One of the reasons I think that Israel's been getting increasingly unpopular is because anyone that dares to criticize the Israeli government, and I stand by my suggestion that Benjamin Netanyahu has been pulling some strings with Trump because he managed to persuade the fourth American president. Well, let me finish my point, and I think I should be allowed to use that phrase. I should be allowed to use that phrase without you calling me anti-Semitic.
I don't think so.
I think you know I'm not anti-Semitic.
No, I'm not. By the way, I would never call you anti-Semitic. You're a friend of the Jews. You're a friend of Israel. What I'm telling you is something historical, that the phrase pulling the strings is a trope, and it shouldn't be used. And I wish you would use other terms. Put pressure, that's fine. Pulling the strings, having a puppet, that should not be permitted. I look, I like you very much, and I support you all the time, but I criticize you for using that term. Please don't use that term. It's historic.
No, it depends
it
if people
reminds
are
too
actually,
much
it depends
of what other people who have different motives would say.
Alan, it actually depends if people are actually pulling strings, and I do think Netanyahu's been doing that. Let me bring in Joe Kent. I mean, Joe Kent, this is one of the more unsavory. Well, I'll use the term I feel is appropriate. Joe Kent, I mean, this idea that
I'll criticize you for it.
Terms,
and I'll criticize you for it. You can say what you want, and I can say what I want. That's what the open marketplace of ideas is all about.
100%. We are, and especially on a show like Uncensored. Okay. You're entitled to your opinion.
We agree to
about
disagree.
The use of a phrase. Okay. I'm entitled to it too. Yeah, Joe Kent.
That's right.
I do believe that there's been enormous pressure, Joe Kent, from Benjamin Netanyahu to literally try and dictate what America would do. And I think he did it. He tried to do it with Obama. He tried to do it with Joe Biden, and he failed. We know that from Anthony Blinken, who told us that he tried, and both times the American president said, I'm not coming with you if you attack Iran, and Israel did not attack Iran in either eventuality. So we know that here he found a president that would go along with it.
All right, so he goes on, and so that's Dershowitz. I don't understand how you gonna sit there and say, yo, I don't think you can say that, and then, well, we'll just agree to disagree. Well, then, all right, just let it go. I mean, yes, you have a right to say what you want. He's not telling you can't say something. You telling Piers that he can't say that. And Piers is like, look, I'll fucking say what the fuck I want to say. Well, okay, well, then I'll just disagree with. Okay, I'm good with that. I mean, that's
you have
how
the
life
right
is.
to say that. I got the right to disagree with you.
Okay,
it's like, I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah, I mean, that is a lawyer.
Yeah, well, because of, you know why? Because lawyers don't want certain words being used, because then it gets people like, I understand what pulling the strings means.
Yeah, now he might have leveraged them, but he didn't pull the strings.
Yeah.
He might.
It's all,
what?
I'm telling you, man, it's all in the wording. That's what HR, that's what Everybody does that. You got to watch your words. You got to watch what words you're using.
No.
Because
I'm fucked.
leveraging isn't as harsh as pulling the strings.
Same
You see
shit.
what it is?
I mean, one you can say he's putting pressure on them. One you can say he's pulling them in the direction.
but-
Either way,
but-
he's doing the same shit.
But that's that lawyer bullshit, dude, that they try to sit there and work them words, man, because we know they're going to say it. So we got to make them use a less.
If you're going to say what I don't want you to say, well, I'm just going to disagree with you. Okay. Well, you don't understand how much I'm going to disagree with you.
I'm going to disagree with you times infinity. Ugh.
Like, all right. I mean, you have the right to do that. I think you would know that. You're a fucking lawyer. Well, I'll double disagree with you. Like,
I'm
dude,
done
shut up.
watching you
Quit
guys.
crying. It was awful.
I will never come on a talk show with you again.
Yeah. So, yes, I would have to say, just based off of that, you don't have to know much about it. But yes, you are throttled when you try to say anything about Israel that is not in a good light. Okay?
Mhm. And our
All right, so-
views show it.
Right. So let's talk about poverty and wealth gap. And the numbers on this poverty shit really kind of stunned me. God, I didn't really think that the numbers were where they were, and we'll get to them in a second. So on paper, poverty has fallen since the 1960s. Yet the richest 1% now control more wealth than the bottom 90% combined. Now, how is that possible? So, first of all, let's discuss how the poverty line is set. And I didn't know this. I don't know if you know how the poverty line is set, but the U.S. government still uses the 1960s formula based on the cost of food. That's how the poverty line is set. For 2026, the federal poverty guideline is as follows. One person, $15,960 is the poverty line. And if you have a family of 4, the poverty line is $33,000. And then you can add $5,680 for each additional person. All right. So that's the same number everywhere in all lower 48 states. Alaska and Hawaii are different. I didn't really give a shit, look them up in the 48 states. So it doesn't matter, the cost of living in your area, anything, that's the poverty line.
Poverty line is what again?
The poverty line for one person is $15,960.
Okay.
The poverty line for a family of 4 is $33,000, and then for each additional person, you get $5,680 added to the family of 4. That's the poverty line, and that's added. That's formulated by the cost of food.
Okay.
All right. Now, the Census Bureau supplemental poverty measure tries to fix that by including food stamps, tax credits, and subtracting medical and child care costs. In 2024, the official rate was 10.6%, which covered 35.9 million people. But the supplemental poverty measure was at 12.9%. So the actual poverty picture is a bit worse once you count real expenses.
Right.
The highest poverty levels, as you might think, is in the southern states, with Mississippi and Louisiana being the bottom 2. Go us.
You
Truth
bunch
be
of poor
told,
bastards.
Yeah, Louisiana and Mississippi's always battling for the lowest state in every fucking thing. So we consistent, baby. We consistent.
Y'all winning something.
We winning something. We either 1 or 2. If you ain't first, you're last. Well, we're last. We're last.
We're first place last.
Yeah, Kentucky, y'all the 6th highest poverty level, so you ain't far from us.
Yeah. Well,
Now, how can a family of 4 live on $33,000 a year? I mean, is that even possible?
No.
That don't make any sense. So I seen something, and I told you about this earlier. It's called learned helplessness. And this made me think, is all of this the way they make us depend, well, not like us, but the society and itself dependent on the government and help? Is this part of a bigger plan? I mean, are we being taught to want less for ourselves by thinking that we actually are less as people?
Right.
So I'm going to show you this real quick. This was eye-opening to me. I hope this helps other people, see how we can be trained without really knowing.
Mhm.
Check this out.
These are anagrams. Just do the first one only. Go ahead and solve it. An anagram is rearrange the letters to form a word. Just one. Just rearrange those letters to form a word. When you're done, I need to see your hand raised. Keep going, but wait. Keep your hands up, please. Just do number one. Don't go on. Don't go on. This isn't meant to be difficult. Okay, put your hands down. Let's just go to number 2. Don't even worry about number 1. Go to number 2. Solve that one. Again, when you're done, I want to see your hands up. Everybody's hands down. We're going to go ahead and do number 3. For number 3, rearrange the letters, and as soon as you do, go ahead and put your hand up. Here's what you need to know. You were both given 2 different lists. This side of the room was given these 3 words. And left side of the room, here you go. They were given bat. What would the word be? The second one, they were given lemon. Brian, the word? Melon. They were easy. The trick here was both of you were given the third word, which was the same. The third word was cinerama, which was American. Your first 2 words on this side of my classroom were not solvable. They were impossible tasks. I'm sorry. I know, but here's what we did this for. I was able to induce something called learned helplessness in the left side of the room very easily within about 5 minutes. I want you to think about what happened to you, this left side of the room, when you saw the right side of the room raising their hands because they already had the task done. What happened to you during that time? Jory?
I felt stupid.
You felt stupid? Okay.
I felt rushed.
Felt rushed? Joelle?
I was even more confused.
You're even more confused because they all got it and you were still struggling. Chelsea?
Frustrated.
Frustrated. What happened by the time you got to the third word? Because I'm here to tell you, this side of the room is not significantly more intelligent than this side of the room. That was a random assignment. So what happened to show the differences? Why did you have more of a difficult time with the third word, which was the exact same word? Brian?
My confidence was shot.
What you experienced was a term called learned helplessness. How many have heard of the term before? Let me see your hands. Learned helplessness is often used in the academic literature to mean what? Jory?
Basically, they fail once or can't do something one time, and then they apply that to everything in the future.
Is that how they control people? That's wild, huh?
Yeah, it is. I bet you she lost her job for teaching that. We're indoctrinating here. We're not trying to educate. Damn, woman. You know
What
how
do you
much,
think?
dude, it's crazy.
Yeah, when I first saw that, I mean, it's very fucking eye-opening. I hope everyone, catches that because
Right. And for people that have learning disabilities and all that stuff, just because you got dyslexia or ADD or stuff like that, that's hard for you to read something and comprehend or whatever. You know what I do? I have a hard time reading a book. I hate that because there's a lot of good information in some of these books. You know what technology has helped me read books? Audiobook. You know what I'm saying? So there's new ways out there to do it. I just wanted to throw that out as a public service announcement. Don't get frustrated.
I'm not
Find
a
a
big book reader. I like to read articles. I like to read pages of stuff. I don't want.
Yes.
I read for information, but I don't want to read a whole book. I might have read 3 or 4 books in my life, and I was forced to read most of them. Some of them by gunpoint.
Yeah, well, some by gunpoint. Read the book, or I'm going to pull the trigger.
I had to read encyclopedias from front to back.
From the movie Saw 25, Brian reads encyclopedias.
You will read the whole encyclopedia, you will get a hole drilled in your head.
Well, get the drilling, bitch.
Get the drilling because I can't read. It's going to be a long fucking time. I got to read the encyclopedia.
But ask that boy to say axe. He can't even say act.
That's right. And it ain't many words I can say. But if you
Just
follow
so I
along,
did-
if you follow along, you'll learn my language. So I'll teach you as we go.
Yeah, all my friends I tell about this podcast and like, who's it? My buddy from Louisiana, and they just smile. They ain't even met you, they ain't even heard you, but they can only imagine how this one's going.
Hey, man, it ain't bad. It ain't bad.
No, everybody that does watch that I know, they love you to death. So
Oh, thank you. I love you too.
yes, yeah.
Oh.
So, anyways,
All right, so let's keep going with this.
Yes.
So then there's the median household income, and
Mhm.
this is the average middle household income. Now, this average isn't inflated, including the billionaires to count. So the median household income in 2024 was $83,730, and that's basically unchanged from 2023 after inflation.
Mhm.
So full-time workers, median earnings are around 63,360 overall, which is 71,000 for man, 71,000 for man, like fucking you got on the moon or something. 71,000 for men and 57,000 for women. So personal income for everyone with earnings was roughly 45,000 to 51K. And the latest quarterly data shows full-time wage earners pulling in about $1,196 per week, annualized just over 62,000 a year. Okay,
Mhm.
that's the median income. We already discussed that you can't afford, you can't support a family of four on the 32,000. Can you do it on 62,000? Is that a little more feasible?
Mm-mm.
I mean, I don't think so either. Well, I mean, so the poverty line.
Well, I'm not going to discuss my pay, but my pay is more than twice that, and there's only two of us here. Now, we've got money in our account now, which is cool, but I still buy stuff for my kids and my grandkids, and you know what I'm saying? But I don't have kids living in my house on a regular basis.
So you think that you above the poverty line? But
I am
barely.
above, according to your crap, I'm way
Yeah.
above it, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like it.
Yeah, I think this is just a play on numbers, and we'll get to that in a minute too.
Yeah,
but
dude, they're getting in our head.
Yeah,
You're
the
not in
poverty line.
poverty.
Yeah, you're not
You're
in
above-
poverty. Yeah,
You're
you made
you're
$50
wealthy.
last week. Now you
Yeah,
had to of the $50, you had to give me 25 of it, but you made $50 last week. You're not in
Yeah,
poverty.
and we're going to need you to work some more because I need some more money.
We need to lose some more money in some kind of other fraud. So
Yeah,
you need to work a little bit more. Your hands aren't bleeding enough. Your back doesn't hurt enough. You need to work a little bit more.
yeah. Wonder when they're going to have the Pakistani daycare. The Somalias didn't work out. We'll use the Pakistanis.
Oh man, I did a segment on fraud. I just didn't have time to put it in this week, and man,
I'm
there's so
not going to
much.
lie. I had a good weekend, Brian. I had a good men's Christian weekend, and I'm glad you didn't pull me right back into my crap box. And that's something that I try to work on this week is not being in a rut mood all the time. But our viewers might get upset and be like, "That's why we watch you."
Yeah, and
So-
here's the other thing is I don't want people to get. I don't get upset about this. Don't get.
I
no,
do.
Let me rephrase that. I don't. I like it. I like the information. It doesn't bother me a whole lot emotionally. Some of it does, but I don't carry it with me. I like to know things. So if some of this shit really bothers you, I mean, let me know. We can lighten it up a little bit. But I like to make sure that everyone knows the actual fucking the details.
Yeah.
Just rip the fucking Band-Aid off. This is how bad they fucking us.
But if Jason rants about it, it's okay. It's funny to Brian.
No, it's
so.
funny to me. No, honestly, what I do is I use you as a gauge on how other people perceive it because I understand now.
Appreciate it. I'm
No,
the
because I
thermometer.
understand now
I'm the
that
thermometer for human
That's
beings.
right.
with Brian.
You're right.
Ooh, he got red on that one. That was about 120 degrees.
I didn't realize how much the way I think is totally different than other people until Jennifer started saying, "Hey, look, Brian, people don't really think like that." And I'm like, "Are you serious? People don't want all these details?" And she's like, "No, people don't. People just want to go about their life. They don't care about all those details." I'm like, well, that's how I feed my brain. It just I want to know everything. But
Dude, I feed my brain slaving for the man, dude. That's how I feed my brain.
There you go.
And Taco
And that's
Bell,
how it should be.
McDonald's.
You're a great
That's how it
American.
be.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. I'm living the American dream by feeding the man caviar while I'm eating a quesadilla from Taco Bell. So shut up.
Just eat another weenie and shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
I was
While I
walking
eat.
through Walmart yesterday. I looked at Jennifer, and we was in the cheese section. I said, "You know what's sad? It's none of this is cheese." I said, "You think anybody in the elite section would eat anything in this fucking store?"
No.
You know?
Sam's kids didn't even eat it they didn't go to Walmart.
And I'm not complaining because I'm happy I can buy what I want from over there to eat. It's just we live in two different worlds. I mean, totally separate worlds.
But
I
I
mean,
bet guarantee that African or Ethiopian kid over there starving to death with the Cookie Monster T-shirt that we sit over there. Isn't that
with
irony?
all the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl t-shirts.
Here, whatever, fufu, whatever you want to wear, maybe you need to cut that out. I'm trying to I'm not being like that. I'm just saying, you want to wear the Cookie Monster or the Buffalo Bill T-shirt today? Either way, they're both not helping you out any. And I get fufu from Eddie Murphy Live for anybody that was not a racial slur. That was the fufu titties. He was watching National Geographic. Eddie, I need to talk to you. I want half.
I want half, Eddie. Can't stick that
Eddie, you
face
don't
in the
love
water.
me. Eddie, you don't love me.
A goony goo goo.
Goony goo goo.
What the fuck's a goony goo goo, Eddie? He stuck his face in the water, grabbed the fish, and spit it out and said, "A goony goo goo." Oh shit, guys! If y'all too young to remember Eddie Murphy, Delirious and Raw, yeah, that is some of the funniest shit. Y'all need to go watch those two shows. Eddie, again, that's what is Delirious and Raw by Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna just, if you've never seen him in that light,
It'll change your aspects of what Eddie Murphy was before the Dr. Doolittle and the other stuff he did.
Norbit and shit. Yeah, he was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, so let's back to the show. Squirrel,
squirrel.
All right, so here's that. Yeah, now here's the kick in the balls of the wealth gap. So the wealth.
Oh God, that hurt.
Yeah, wealth is the assets. Wealth is assets minus debts. So it's basically your stocks, your home, your businesses, all your assets, right? So the Federal Reserve data through Q3 of 2025 shows the top 1% owns 31.7% of all U.S. household wealth. It's a record high of 55 trillion. That's roughly equal to the entire bottom 90%. The top 10% own 68% of U.S. household wealth. The bottom 50%, yeah, we own just 2.5% of the U.S. household wealth.
That sounds about right.
Yep. And globally is even worse. Globally, the top 1% controls 37% of the world wealth. The bottom 50%, only 2%. And then the ultra rich, the top 0.001%, fewer than 60,000 adults, own 3 times more than the bottom 4 billion people combined. So U.S. billionaires hit a record 989 on the 2026 Forbes list with 20.1 trillion total. Their wealth grew roughly 8% a year for decades, twice the rate of the bottom half. So the stock market and the tech AI booms drove what they considered a K-shaped recovery or a K-shaped economy. So people that owned assets, they made a lot of money. And us fucking hourly job people, we still drowning, you know. The top 1% share has climbed from 23% in 1989 to 31.7% today. Wealth is far more concentrated than income ever was. So what is a K-shaped economy, in case you don't know? So if you draw a K on paper and you got one arm of the K that shoots upward, so this represents people, jobs, or industries that are doing great and getting even better. All right. So higher incomes, rising wealth, strong growth. So the other arm of the K, of course, this represents the people, the industries that are struggling. So they've fallen behind, barely keeping up, because we're just poor. So in short, some parts of the economy are thriving while other parts are not. But this all at the same exact time. It creates a split society where the rich get richer faster and the poor and the middle class feel left behind, even if the overall economy looks okay on paper. So a simple analogy is so you take two boats and you put them in a river. So you have one, you got these high income people with stocks, homes that appreciate in value, tech jobs, and big investments. Now, these people are in a fucking speedboat, right? They're on the upward K. They in the river and they have no problem cruising up the river, even in the strong current. They benefit from the rising market, the bonuses, and asset growth. Now, the lower and middle class income workers, me, you, and likely most of our listeners are in a old rowboat. We're in the downward arm of the K economy. So we got fucking oars, a broken back, and we paddle our ass off just to stay afloat. When we're getting pushed around by the same current that speedboat's using. All right, so that speedboat's going against the current, and we're going in the same fucking river trying to move forward with our oars. This is what we face in our economy today. That was the simplest way I can put it. I mean, both boats are in the same fucking river. So both of us, the rich and us, we're in the same economy. The difference is their money shooting straight up. And we're just bent over a barrel. We're being cooked again. Huh? We're being cooked.
What was that saying in Horrible Bosses? Oh, I'm going to bend her over a barrel and show her the 50 states.
I forgot about that movie. There's a guy, he's going to explain the 1% control of the world. Check this one out.
Have you ever read that quote, 1% control the world, 4% are the puppets, 90% are asleep, 5% know what is going on and are trying to wake up the 90%, and the 1% don't want the 5% waking up the 90%? Well, here's a breakdown of it. The 1% are the architects of the system. Not cartoon villains, but people and institutions with disproportionate control over capital flows, media narratives, policy influence, and resource allocation. Their power isn't magic, it's structural. They benefit most when systems remain complex and emotional charged rather than transparent. They don't need mass loyalty, only mass predictability. The 4%, or the puppets, are the enforcers. They're not evil, they're just incentivized. Career politicians, influencers chasing clout, corporate managers, media personalities, bureaucratic middle layers. They repeat narratives because it protects their position, it rewards compliance. The 90%, the asleep, are the distracted majority. Asleep doesn't mean stupid, it means overworked, overstimulated, emotionally exhausted, and financially stressed. When survival takes all your energy, critical thought then becomes a luxury. Endless outrage cycles, identity wars, dopamine loops, and fear-based news are distraction tools. They are governed more by emotion than by attention. And the 5%, the awake, are the pattern seers. Not all agree with each other, not all are right, but they share one thing. They notice patterns instead of events. They think systemically rather than tribally. They exist across politics, spirituality, economics, science. They threaten systems by asking why, not demanding who to blame. Why the 1% fear the 5%, but not the 90%? The 90% can be managed through division, fear, comfort, and distractions. The 5% can't because they don't respond predictably. They cross ideological boundaries, and they expose incentives instead of arguing opinions. Awareness spreads faster than control, and once people see how they're being influenced, the influence weakens. The real battlefield isn't information, it's attention. That's why serious conversations are buried, nuances mocked, and calm thinkers are labeled dangerous or crazy. But there's a hidden rule to the system. A population that understands systems is ungovernable by manipulation. So the goal isn't to keep people ignorant, it's to keep people too busy, too angry, too tired to connect the dots. The most dangerous person to any power structure isn't the rebel, and it's not the extremist. It's the person who is calm, can explain systems simply, theory, doesn't have an enemy, and teaches others how to think instead of what to think. 1% control the systems, not with force, with predictability. 90% aren't asleep, they're exhausted, too busy surviving to zoom out. And then there's the 5%. They don't argue teams, they study patterns. They don't fight puppets, they expose their strings. That's why an increase in consciousness is dangerous. But once people see how the game works, that's when they can stop playing it. And that's what the system fears the most.
So we're trying to be the 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know this shit is bad, right? And we went through some stuff, and you said you're doing pretty good. Based off of how you've been through your life, I mean, you're doing good, you know, and I'm the same way. I mean, as you get older, you tend to, you get stuff paid off. You get to where you're doing a little better. You know, you get a little more advanced in your job, so you make a little more money.
Mm-hmm.
But these younger people, they're struggling. And
yeah.
They say more and more younger people, you know, are living at home longer and things like that, just because shit's just so high. I know rent for Maddie is pretty fucking high, you know, for where she's at, and it's ridiculous on what these young people have to pay. And again, I think this is also by design. They try to put it off on, you know, our generations, but we don't really control anything. They think that we control, we fucked up everything or whatnot. First off, Gen X didn't do shit with politics. We didn't give a fuck until now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you ain't blaming us.
You ain't blaming us for fucking it up.
And we didn't give in to crap either, man, because we didn't get butthurt about little stuff.
No.
I mean, we used to crack on each other's mamas.
No. Yeah.
At school all
that was
all
a pastime.
Yeah.
Coming up with your mama jokes.
Yeah, you know why I'm so fat? Because every time I sleep with your mama, she makes me a sandwich.
Yeah, I seen your mama the other day kicking a can down the road. I said, "What you doing?" She said, "Moving."
Moving. You know what pant size your mama is? Equator.
All right. This next video is going to bring us the money through the generations.
Your mama.
Your mama.
Boomers are all about money. Gen X is like, is it all about money? Millennials are like, where is the money? And Gen Z is like, what is money?
Amy Poehler absolutely nailed this. This is a true representation of how money has been declining over the past 40 or 50 years. The boomers had such a big economic boom that it was easy for them to accumulate money. $80 trillion the boomer generation has. So of course, they're all about the money. Now, when you think about the millennials, where's the money? It's because we were handed a roadmap at like 13 years old of exactly the steps we needed to take, and then someone pointed and said, see that treasure chest? It's going to be full of gold. Just follow the plan. Well, we followed the plan. Here we are 20 years later. We open up the treasure chest and there's 2 fucking coins in it. We're like, where's the money? And then Gen Zers, what is money? Gen Zers, correct me if I'm wrong, they're going to work and they're getting paid direct deposit on Fridays, and as soon as the money hits the account, it just goes automatic to their bills. They don't actually touch money. A company could actually hire someone and say, we're not going to give you any money. You're going to work here for free, but we'll provide housing, a car, and 3 hot meals a day. There would be no difference. Just cut out the step of money because they never actually see their money. What is going on?
What's going on? We're going back to the company store. I just thought of that. You thought quite possible.
No, yeah. Hey, I worked for a veterinarian, not at his vet shop. He had standard-bred horses, the one that races the carts.
Did you like deliver shit? Like hand up?
Huh?
You said a veterinarian. Did you like
No, I told you I didn't work at his vet shop. I worked on his horse farm.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Did you deliver? You had to stick your hand up a horse's shit just to
No,
deliver?
he did.
Okay.
He did. No, he preg checked them. He'd stick his hand up their butt to check and see if they were pregnant. Now, I don't. You're gonna have to Google that.
I know what you're talking about. They fisting a horse. I get that.
I know. But it's not in the vagina, it's in the rear end.
Yeah, I don't
and
understand
that's how
that.
they do. That's how they do a cow too. Anyways, yeah.
So you watched them do that, but you didn't do it.
Yes, I had.
So you were cooked. Why?
I was cooked. The horse wasn't mine, so I wasn't like watching my horse.
You was just a pervert watching him fist fuck a horse.
No, I was working there. Will you let me finish my stuff? You're so nasty. So,
Go ahead, man.
anyways, instead of getting a decent or not, I mean, this dude was screwing me on money anyways. I got paid like $140 every 2 weeks, but I had a house, but the house wasn't much. It didn't even have air conditioning. Like I was going to have to go buy a window unit to put it. I had to pay. He gave me free water, and when we first got there, it was good. It was on the county water. Then when we were raising his rate, he shut our county water off and put us on the well with the horse barn. So if the guys were in there trying to wash the horses after they ran them, my wife couldn't do laundry because it killed the pressure. So if my wife was trying to do laundry on a Saturday and they were working, they would tell me to go over there and tell her to turn the laundry off so they could finish washing the horses. I mean, exactly. They're going to do that. They're going to build housing, probably subdivisions that companies are going to own and have food stores or whatever and control what you eat, where you live, and all that stuff and say there. This is the car we're going to give you.
We're here to take care of you. We're here for your benefit.
Yeah, whatever. Nobody's there for your benefit.
They're here for your benefit. They're here. Did you not hear what the government said?
Gosh.
If they repeated it enough, it's true.
I'm crossing my arms. I'm upset.
That's right. Well, just agree. That's agree.
I'm taking my podcast and going over here.
All right. So why are you broke? Let's hear about why you always broke.
Hold up. Can I get a picture of her on here? Sorry, honey.
Banana.
You better cut that one out. You won't cut it out either.
No,
I can banana like 200 times. All you're going to hear on the podcast is banana 200 times and a picture of my wife. That's why I'm broke. Actually, no, it's my daughter and my son. They're the reason too. There's 3 of them, and then four dogs.
Well, this is Neo going to tell you why you're broke.
Does Neo know my wife?
I don't know. Let's see. I forgot to hit the button.
I'm going to explain why you're always broke no matter how much you make. For decades, making more money meant having more money. Simple. You got a raise, your life improved, but something shifted. Now people making 6 figures are living paycheck to paycheck, just like people making 30,000. What changed? The cost of everything exploded while wages stayed flat. But here's the part nobody talks about. This didn't happen by accident. Every time your income goes up, the cost of living goes up faster. Rent increases, subscriptions multiply, lifestyle inflation kicks in, and you end up in the exact same position just with bigger numbers. You're on a treadmill that speeds up every time you run faster. And here's what makes it genius. You can't win by earning more because the game adjusts to keep you stuck. The moment you get comfortable, something gets more expensive, and you're back to struggling, just at a higher income bracket. Meanwhile, there's a different game being played. People who own assets instead of trading time for money. Their wealth grows while they sleep. Your wealth disappears while you work, and the gap gets wider every year. Most people will spend their entire lives trying to earn their way out of broke, but you can't earn your way out of a system designed to keep you there. We may not see each other again, so make sure to follow this page.
You're going to be broke forever.
Appreciate you.
You're welcome. That's why you're broke. Systems built to destroy you. No,
I think you knew I was going to go have a good time this weekend, and you're like, what can I do to bring Jason back down to this level?
No, actually, the poverty portion I put together a while back, and it was just something I decided to pull in. And
you were just waiting for the right time, and it just sounded like tonight. Appreciate you, Bryan. Thanks for telling me how broke I am. Love you.
All broke. we all broke.
We all broke.
We all broke. And I guess we like it. We like the punishment. Now
we're broker and a stripper during Lent.
Yeah, the strip joint just opened up down the road from us.
Yeah, but during Lent,
I'm just saying,
a lot of guys giving it up for Lent. Right?
People actually give up strip. I mean, are you? First of all, if you go into the strip club, are you that religious? So, second of all, what you give up for Lent? You go to church on Sunday, and your priest says, "How How you doing? So what'd you give up for Lent? Strip club.
The strip club. The club. The club.
I gave up Mercedes.
Mercedes and cinnamon.
Yeah,
Gave her
cinnamon.
both of them.
Yeah. I gave up Mercedes. Yeah.
Cinnamon.
God. I never even thought about giving up the strip club for Lent. God. What'd you give up for Lent? Porn? You know?
Porn.
God.
Bang Brothers.
Yeah. I'm curious though. I mean, if you're really a religious person and you giving up that shit for Lent, I'm curious.
What'd you get up for Lent? Cheating on my wife.
Yeah.
Potential spam. Potential spam. Potential spam.
If you don't know that, check out the last episode.
Yeah, you got to go back and watch that one, and then I hope you laugh.
All right. All right,
He hasn't had potential spam in 30 days.
Let's
It's a miracle, honey. It's a miracle.
Yeah, I got one other thing I'm gonna try to get through before the end of the night. No, and it still goes online with this, and it's minimum wage. And minimum wage is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not for saying that people that work at McDonald's need to have $30 an hour. I'm not saying that, but minimum wage is a joke. It is.
Yeah, you don't want to get me started on the McDonald's getting 20, 30 bucks an hour, dude. They can't get your order right.
No, but I mean, and I agree that's an entry level job. But I was just going to talk about minimum wage and not go into that aspect of it. We're not going to talk about the levels of it, but just where we're at. All right. So I don't know if you knew this, but minimum wage federally hasn't changed since 2009.
Okay.
17 years it's been set at $7.25.
I didn't even know what it was anymore.
Yeah. So adjusted for inflation, minimum wage today would be roughly $11.16. So it's not exactly setting records, but it's definitely better than $7.25 right now. Certain states have adjusted the minimum wage, but about 20 states still follow the federal minimum wage of $7.25. Now, this lower minimum wage, of course, benefits the owners. I mean, that's simple to figure out. And in labor-intensive industries like restaurants, retail, and hospitality, these places have very thin profit margin. So a small increase in labor costs can significantly squeeze or eliminate that thin profit, forcing owners to make tough choices like raising prices, cutting staff hours, going to automation, or reducing hiring. And I think this is why small businesses can't survive, and you see everything, is going corporate driven. And I think it's all designed that way. I really do think so. As a small business, you can make it and do well. I'm not going to say you can't, but you're going to have to fucking work your ass off to do it, because these small margins are created, in my opinion, for a reason. Now hear me out. Okay. Now I'm not saying that minimum wage should be $30 an hour. I think it should be more than $11.16 federally. I think that needs to be fixed. But I believe the minimum wage system is also a problem when you look at the big picture of business for the small business and how they can be so easily pushed out of business. I'm just trying to set the stage because I'm going to try to run through this real quick so everyone can understand. All right. So if I'm a big box store and I want to corner the industry, I start moving into the smaller towns, just like they did years ago, right? So now, when we were growing up, everyone had a favorite hardware store. Everyone probably still does, but back when we were growing up, it was most likely a local hardware store that people went to. And so we're going to say Jim had a hardware store.
Yep.
Now Jim is only open Friday to Saturday, and he might be open a couple hours on Saturday, but they never open on Sunday, ever. And if someone's younger than us that's listening to this, yes, stores used to shut the fuck down. People used to take off. People used to visit families. It wasn't always open this way.
It was hard to find one open on a Saturday at all. It was Monday through Friday, and it was usually during working hours. They weren't even open after working hours.
And and if it was on a Saturday, it was only a few hours, and they were always shut down by lunchtime.
Yes.
All right. So Jim been having
if you were lucky.
If you were lucky, right?
Yes.
A lot of them would just open on Monday through Friday. It was tough to get stuff. So Jim store's open and it's been open for 80 years, right?
Mhm.
And these big box stores, they start to move in. And these guys can pay a little more than minimum wage. So people start getting jobs there instead of local stores because these local stores, they got such a small margin, they can't pay more than minimum wage. That's just how their system's built, right?
Mhm.
So all the people start go working for the big box stores because they can pay a little more. Because they're buying in bulk. So when they're selling, their profit margin's a little higher. They're selling in volume, they're buying in bulk. They can pay these guys a little bit more. But you're going to support Jim because Jim been there for 80 years. Now, one Sunday, you need something. Jim's not open. Well, you decide, fuck, I guess I'm going to go to the big box store. So you go to the big box store, and it's your first time there. And you walk in, and this motherfucker got everything. Everything, Jim's store got some shit, but they ain't got nothing like this. You spend all day there just walking around because you can't believe everything's in there. There's so much stuff in there that you spend all day there that you don't even go home and fix what you went over there to get to go fix, right?
Mhm.
And so you go back home, and now you're hooked. Now you still go to Jim because you don't want to feel like you're cheating on Jim with the big box store because he's been there, his family's been there for 80 years. But you start going to Jim's store less and less. And then one day you pass by and the place is shut down. And why is it shut down? Because you're not shopping there anymore. And we all done this. We all have an old end of town that we've done this to. We've done that by not supporting our local businesses. Right. And we look at all these places that shut down and we're like, man, I can't believe they didn't make it. They didn't make it because we didn't support them. We didn't support our own community.
But can I be the devil's advocate on that?
Yep.
I hate it for Jim, but Jim's kids were driving the nice convertible cars and all that stuff, and Jim and them lived in a bigger house and all that. And everybody said that was okay for Jim to do that and pay his people minimum wage because Jim went through all the heartache to do that. Jim invested in that business, not his employees. You see what I'm saying? Jim had all the overhead. Jim had all the stress and all that, so he deserved.
So is it better for the corporate company to make the money off of you?
I'm just saying corporations are what's going to allow people to make more money. The workers are going to make out better at a corporation than they will a mom and pop store.
They will.
To me, if you're going to run a mom and pop store, it's got to be family working for you.
Well, that's
got to be your kids.
That's what I'm getting at. So yes, you will make more, right? But your community gets less. It does.
Yeah, because they're not reinvesting it back in the community. But Brian, I got to survive, bud.
Oh, I agree with that. But if you
don't,
I
want a boat. I want a nice truck.
No, here's what I'm getting at.
Jim's not. I know, but Jim's not going to put that in my driveway.
No, but what you just did is what we did is we put all of our eggs in 3 baskets. These major corporations own everything. All these major corporations are owned by these 3 people. Well, we used to have independently owned places and businesses in our communities that built things and did things. We took all that for convenience and a few dollars. And this is why we're being controlled by everything today. That's just how I feel. I'm not saying that we shouldn't want more money.
They played into us.
They did. And we bought into it just because like you said, I want that truck. I want this. I want that.
They drew the blueprint and we had to follow it, Brian. I'm just for me to be successful, I had to follow that blueprint that they drew up. And it doesn't involve Jim's hardware. Walmart did it. Walmart come into my community and shut down a bunch of little mom and pop grocery stores.
And I agree, but they didn't shut them down. We shut them down because we quit shopping at those stores.
I know, but I blame them for undercutting them. But
we can't blame them. All they did was put a store there. If we don't support that store, then they fall. For Walmart to be successful, we have to shop there. We don't have to shop there. We chose to go there. But we were
Was the
lured there.
government cahoots with them too? Because the government raising where I had to go to the cheaper place to buy my stuff because of my pay?
Oh, I'm not arguing with you. What I'm getting at is just like you were saying earlier, you know, we were, I can't say we were played, but we were conditioned into these type of things to where we thought we needed this, we needed that, and we wanted what Jim had, as you said. I mean, we want those things.
Right.
And I don't know.
Because what if that's where I'm getting at. I mean, I know where you're going with it, and I'm sorry. I'm kind of throwing darts at it.
No, I agree with what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Well, because it's the same thing. What about if I decide to do what Jim's doing as a small business and open up a hardware store too because I want what Jim's got? Now I'm competition for him.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
going to take some of his customers. Guarantee it, I will.
Yep. But the money's still staying in the community.
It's staying in the community. So
Now,
to me, that's on the county and the state. That part of it is.
no, the reason I say it's in the community is because not so much to tax us, and that's all the thing that the county and the state would do, is if Jim is there, Jim's buying his stuff local for his place. That make more sense? The big box stores are not purchasing in your community. All of
Yeah,
that money is leaving your community.
We still got well, we don't have a big box store thing, and I know we got the Walmart, right? But we don't have like Lowe's or Home Depot or bigger heart Menards. We don't. I can go to them, but not in my county. We still got a small Do It Best or whatever, and they're like, oh, we could compete with these. No, you can't. You can't. I go in your place. You can't. The only convenience you have is I don't have to drive 30 minutes to go get a cap for my clean out, right? That I hit with my lawnmower a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then when you hit it, now the smell comes in the house. But anyways, we still have that hardware store there, Brian, but I'm just saying that I don't know where they get their stuff. I'm not going to lie. I don't know where their stuff comes from. The wood and the plumbing material and the trim and the windows and all that.
Yeah. Most of those Do It Best and all. I mean, they're just like most of your big box stores now. I mean, they're bringing stuff in. There's not many actual. And I'm using hardware store because there's just something for. I don't want to get lost in that. I'm just using that as something.
I
talk
understand.
About, right?
Yeah.
But
like the little grocery store, the mom and pop
Yeah.
grocery, or
the Walmart, came in and they lost their business. And then if you want to think about that, so we went from a grocery store, all right, that when you walked in, not only those people knew, the owners knew who you were. Most of the time, if you was a regular there, you always had someone. You walk in, you had the produce section. You had somebody you can talk to in produce that knew everything about produce. You can walk around to the meat section. You had somebody in the meat section that knew everything about the meat. Oh, you want that cut? You can ring the bell. The butcher will come out. You can get everything cut for you. Those are the little perks that you don't have anymore. But we traded that for convenience. We went from a store that actually, most likely, I know in our little town, and I worked at a grocery store. We treated everyone like we
Like
knew
family.
them because we knew them.
Yeah.
And everyone knew what they can get. And they knew who to go to and who to talk to. That's just how it was. When
Yeah.
you walk in Walmart, you're walking into
And
a
some
big
18-year-old
warehouse.
coming out of a damn door with frozen meat, throwing it in there, and you're like, hey,
Yep.
can you get me that? They don't even know what you're talking about.
No, but that's what we chose. That
Yeah.
I mean,
Convenience.
the convenience. And when you look around, this doesn't look like your childhood. There's the corner store that you used to walk down to get, groceries for your mom or something's gone. It's closed down or it became something else or every little thing in your neighborhood, has changed to something or you have an old end of town of just all these buildings that was your childhood and they're just all closed or they become like a flea market, depending on where you're at, different for everyone. It was in my little town where I grew up. you used to have to pass through our town. And then the bridge goes across our town now. So where you used to pass through, that whole area, it's just, there's nothing there. It's,
Because they
I
built
can't
a
say there's nothing
bypass
there, but
around it?
there's no real business there. You know, there's
Right.
some local business, but there's a whole bunch of shuttered area. You know, it's just
Right.
run down area.
Right.
Because kind of like on cars, they just bypass.
Well, that town above me where Lowe's and all that is,
Yeah.
they're building a new bridge to go over to Evansville, Indiana. And I guarantee that's going to kill a lot of business down there on the strip that you had to drive past. You know what I'm saying? Because now you can just bypass that. And what are we going to do? We're going to take the shortest distance and the fastest time to get where we want to go.
Yep.
So.
All right. So in these corporations, we support these billionaires by default. We created this shit. You know, we slept our way into this shit.
Yep.
And while I believe a lot of people are still asleep, we're getting better at seeing the lies. And maybe we can start, you know, to take back what's ours. I think more people are waking up, and I just want to go through that. And this is the last video of the night, and this pretty much sums up what we're discussing. This is the poverty level in the United States.
The poverty level in the United States is not $31,000 for a family of 4. It's closer to $140,000. Not only can the average family not afford that house anymore, but that they really can't afford the very basic components of participating in our society. That poverty line that we see from the federal government that tells us that we're all comfortably well above the poverty level is a historical residual of a world in which food at home accounted for approximately 1/3 of the total budget. Today, the price of food has collapsed. The cost of everything else, in particular housing and child care, have exploded. That analysis running through the math of what would be required simply to meet the basic budget for a working husband, working wife, and 2 children is what led to that analysis. If we're going to fix things, we have to start having honest conversations with young families about what they need in order to survive and thrive and produce the next generation of taxpayers. I'm Michael Green. I wrote on this topic for the Free Press. You can read it at thefp.com.
Okay, now I'm poverty. I wasn't earlier, but now I am.
That shit went up quick, huh?
Yeah, boy, I just went from freaking feeling rich to poor in less than an hour.
Yeah, I mean, they killed the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
They not fucking around.
I'm tired of being in the middle.
You want to go lower?
Yeah, I'm not going to get richer, so let's just go poor.
Yeah, let's pull the Band-Aid. Let's say fuck it. Well, when you ain't got nothing left to lose, that's when you start moving forward.
Yeah,
you know?
I'll just quit my job and mow some lawns on the side. I want to get my house paid off, but quit my job and just maybe drive a school bus a couple hours a day so I can get insurance.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Everybody needs that insurance.
Got that insurance, baby.
Got that insurance.
Gotta have that insurance.
That in case shit.
In
case shit costs you more and more as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
You think when you're younger, fuck that insurance. When you get older, you're like, I need that insurance. You know why motherfuckers can't retire? Because that damn insurance.
Insurance. He's got that insurance.
Got that insurance. Got that case shit. Need that in case shit. In case shit happens.
Case shit happens.
That's the only reason you got insurance. In case shit happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, stick around after we sign off. I have an oldie but goodie to help you smile. Jason, you got anything to add?
No. Gotta have that insurance.
I hope y'all got that insurance. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We greatly appreciate you for joining us.
Yep.
Like, share, follow, subscribe. This is the Sense and Senseless Podcast, and I am Bryan.
I'm Jason.
Here's Jason. Peace.
Peace.
Field trip I have ever been on in my fucking life. They took us to a fucking cotton processing place. And there was a big ass cotton field out in the middle of fucking Raymond, Alabama, in the south of Montgomery County. We went there, and me and 28 other little nigglets in Miss Harper's 3rd grade classroom, they took our asses out there in the middle of the fucking August heat and said, hey, y'all, they gave us bags and shit, like little cute little plastic bags. with a cotton puff person with a smile on his face, and they're like, "Hey, y'all go out there, have fun, pick as much cotton as you want." And so my stupid ass went. You know, I went. My mama signed off on it and didn't think about it, and I went to the fucking field trip. Out there in the field, just having a good old time. We were singing songs and shit in the middle of the motherfucking field, picking goddamn cotton in the middle of the fucking heat. And then, you know, I'm thinking, because it's a field trip, they told us you can pick as much as you want. Hey, you get to keep the fucking cotton. You can keep it. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep it. And we go to get back on the bus. They're like, all right, kids, turn your bags in. And they take our asses inside and took all the damn cotton that we had. And then told us to get back on the fucking bus. So me being a little rebel, I took a handful of cotton, stuffed it in my pocket, and went home. Then my mama came when she was doing laundry the next night. She was like, "What the fuck? Is this cotton in your back pocket?" I was like, "Yeah. Where the hell did you get unprocessed raw cotton from?" Well, yesterday on that field trip, they took us to a cotton processing plant, and we got to pick cotton all day long. My mama came to the school, and I swear to God, that shit went down. She locked this woman in a room like, "How dare you jive-ass motherfuckers take my kids and all these other ashy little Negroes to a fucking cotton field in the middle of the summer. You fucking soulless bitch." She fucking checked me out of school. I didn't go to school for 3 days behind that shit. She said, "I don't want to have to look at that bitch." She was pissed at everybody. Yes, that was the most racist shit I've ever gone through in my life. I didn't even understand what was wrong until the next year. I didn't even understand. I just thought we were just going to go have some fun in the field. So fuck that shit. That was fucking sharecropping if I ever seen it. Fuck that shit.
Brought them all
True
out
story.
there, pick some cotton and take it from them.
Called a field trip. Jeez.